Yo, Brawlers, this is your man, Glass Chin, and you're watching Glass Chin's Boxing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yo, Brawlers, it's just over a month until the Gypsy King Tyson Fury defends his WBC, Lineal, and Ring Magazine titles against Dillian, the Body Snatcher Whyte, on the 23rd of April at Wembley Stadium, London, being broadcast live on BT Sport Box Office in the UK and on ESPN Plus pay-per-view in the US. With a month to go until the big fight, it's about time I do a prediction video, so strap in, Brawlers, here we go. Both men have fought twice since the start of 2020, with Fury beating Deontay twice back-to-back with stoppage wins, and Dillian Whyte going 1-1 with Alexander Povetkin. Fury, being known as a boxer mover, took Deontay completely by surprise by being the aggressor and applying controlled front foot pressure with his new Kronk style under Sugar Hill Stewart. Fury didn't hide the fact in the build-up that he was seeking a knockout after being robbed of the points win in their first fight. After getting dropped and appearing completely out of it in the 12th round of the first fight, shocking the world by beating the 10 count, Fury took the fight to Wilder. Round 1 of the second fight may as well have been the 13th round of the first fight. Fury started quick and beat up Wilder round after round until Wilder's corner threw in the towel in the 7th. Wilder made every excuse in the book for that loss. Dodgy gloves, spiked water, the costume was too heavy. His trainer was disloyal with Mark Breland. He claimed Warriors go out on their shield, and he didn't disappoint. They went on to have the fight of the year in the third fight, with both men tasting the floor twice, and Wilder being a man of his word, not quitting and going out on his shield after getting dropped for a third time in the 11th round. Wilder getting counted out on the canvas, put an end to the Fury-Wilder rivalry. Dillian Whyte seemed to be completely outclassing Povetkin in their first fight, dropping Povetkin twice in the 4th round. Povetkin then completely switched the script and knocked Whyte out cold when he landed one of the best timed uppercuts I've ever seen in boxing, putting Whyte to sleep in the 5th round. It's fairly rare to actually see fighters asleep. Most times fighters are awake and fail to make the count or get waved off on their feet, losing by TKO, but Whyte was asleep before he even hit the ground in a devastating knockout loss. But showing great heart, the rematch clause was activated straight away by Whyte. Whyte, without fear, was seeking to right the wrong and completely dominated Povetkin in the rematch. He knocked Povetkin down in the 4th round, who then was waved off on his feet by the ref as the corner attempted to throw in the towel. Whyte had regained his WBC interim championship but had to wait 6 months to be reinstated as the WBC mandatory challenger in September of last year. Looking at Whyte's resume, you can't deny it is one of the best in the division in terms of name recognition, with names like Joshua, Povetkin, Parker, Chisora, Rivas, Helenius, Wack, and Brown, and not forgetting the People's Champion, the White Rhino, Dave Allen. But looking at Whyte's resume, it's a mixed bag of success, getting knocked out cold twice against Joshua and Povetkin. In my opinion, Chisora was robbed in their first fight and was en route to beating Whyte in the rematch until Whyte had a little bit of home help from the ref, taking 2 points off Chisora, completely changing the momentum of that fight. Whyte gassed bad in both the Rivas and Parker fights and got dropped late in both. Whyte failed to impress in the Helenius and Wack fights, to be fair largely due to Helenius spoiling and trying not to get into a fight, refusing to engage and being happy to take the money and stay safe and lose on points with no ambition to actually win. Whyte came in heavy and out of shape against Marius Fack after his 6-month drug suspension by the WBC, so I guess you can't take too much from that performance. I just find it hard to pinpoint what Whyte's best win actually is. To me, on paper, you would have to say Povetkin, but I viewed Povetkin before that fight as a shot fighter after his gifted draw against Michael Hunter and his poor show against Hughie Fury. You could say ex-WBO champion Joseph Parker, but had the ref not called a slip, a knockdown, that fight would have been a majority draw on the judges' cards. Then you have to factor in that Whyte was dropped and saved by the bell in the final round. I like to give Whyte the benefit of the doubt for these close fights as he was largely still learning on the job. After the first Chisora fight and linking up with Mark Tibbs, Whyte improved tenfold and should have had a few learning fights in between, instead of taking on top contender after top contender and ex-world champions. At 34, Whyte has taken a lot of punishment in his career, and I don't believe he will age well. If he pulls off the upset against Fury, I can't see Whyte keeping the belts for long, with beasts like Filip Hrgovic, Aslanbek Makhmudov, and young guns like Gerald Anderson waiting in the wings. To me, Tyson Fury's body is shop worn, but in a different way to Whyte. More because of the self-inflicted abuse Fury gave his own body outside of the ring, piling on the weight in between fights, even prior to his first title win over Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. Fury was always ballooning up in weight between fights. Piling on 10 stone of fat during his breakdown was the icing on the cake. You would have been a brave person to bet at that point that Fury would become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. Many people believe that Fury's legs are shot and that he doesn't have it in him anymore to dance for 12 rounds. Many believe that is why he developed his new Kronk style. It's sad to say, with all his talent, we may not have ever seen the best Tyson Fury, the best Fury could have been, if he had lived the life of a boxer. Fury often doesn't get the credit he deserves for beating Vladimir Klitschko because Vladimir wasn't a prime fighter, which I agree he wasn't. But what is often missed is that Fury wasn't yet a prime fighter either, and was yet to test himself at elite level. Fury ended Vlad's 10-year, 18 title defense reign as a huge underdog away from home. I don't think Fury gets enough credit for that win. He outboxed an elite boxer in Vladimir Klitschko to win his first world title, and outpunched an elite puncher in Deontay Wilder to win his second world title. He beat both long-reigning champions at their own game, both away from home, with a huge amount of pressure on his shoulders. When Fury's tactics weren't working against Steve Cunningham and Otto Wallin, Fury mixed it up mid-fight and made adjustments. Other top heavyweights like Anthony Joshua have shown they are unable to deviate from the game plan. British greats like Lennox Lewis and Joe Kawasaki had the ability to adapt to any style, and Fury seems to have been cast in the same mould. That's the difference between good fighters and great fighters. Fury has since last year been posting videos of himself conditioning himself with a medicine ball and countless rounds body sparring to prepare for Whyte's reputation as a body puncher. They call him the body snatcher for a reason, and if Whyte wants to slow Fury down and take the fight to Fury in the second half of the fight, Whyte needs to put that work in the bank. Wilder was able to have success early against Fury's body in the third fight but couldn't keep up the attack. Whyte needs to build momentum early during this fight and take Fury's legs away, so that by the second half of the fight he can trade with Fury in the pocket up close and personal, where Whyte likes it. Like Usyk against Joshua, Fury may have the ability to make Whyte look average early on. Whyte could easily find himself 6 rounds down at the halfway stage. If Fury boxes and still has that stick and move in his arsenal, he's a master of distance and range. Whyte may struggle to hit a moving target, and may struggle to adjust to Fury's feints. Whyte is dangerous when he can rough his opponents up close, and he does have a great overhand right that seemed to be Fury's kryptonite early in his career, but Whyte has pretty slow feet and doesn't have an ability to close the gap quick. It's no surprise that Whyte's best performances are against short, come-forward fighters like Chisora, Povetkin and Rivares. If Fury keeps it at range and can still fight in that style and still has the legs to do so, save Whyte landing a huge haymaker due to lack of concentration on Fury's part, he has been known to switch off at times. I can't see anything else other than Fury winning this fight. Whyte gasses too easy, and if Fury boxes at range and uses educated pressure, I think Whyte will tire and get stopped around the 10th round. It's only if Whyte can drag Fury into a dogfight that this gets really interesting. I don't think Whyte has the power to one-punch KO Fury, and clearly doesn't hit as hard as Deontay Wilder, but if Whyte hurts Fury, I don't think Whyte will back up and let Fury off the hook. Fury could well get waved off on unsteady legs after a couple of knockdowns or getting bombarded by Whyte on the ropes. I just don't think Whyte can keep Fury down for a 10 count. If he is drawn into a dogfight, Fury has shown that he can get angry and fight fire with fire, for example getting low blowed by Joey Abel and returning the favour, losing a point in doing so. Fury has been deducted points in the Klitschko, Cunningham, Wilder, Kevin Johnson and McDermott fights. Whyte loves to fight dirty and use roughhouse tactics, and is good at getting away with it. Just ask Joseph Parker how frustrated he got during their fight. So don't be surprised if Fury loses his head and gets deducted a couple of points, making the fight a lot closer on the scorecards. Last time out in the third Wilder fight, Fury did tire early and got dropped twice, although Fury didn't appear to be in the best shape and was out of the ring for 20 months. Hopefully the fight of the year against Wilder helped shake the ring rust off, and with a full camp this time, we will see the best of Tyson Fury. By contrast, Whyte has now been out the ring for over a year. He wasted a camp preparing for a southpaw in Wallin and is coming back from a shoulder injury, the same shoulder he previously damaged and had surgery on after the Anthony Joshua fight. Whyte already has stamina issues, and Fury has shown that when he wants to, he can fight at a high pace, so the time Whyte has been out the ring works highly in Fury's favour. My final prediction, Fury starts off in round 1 like he did in the Derek Chisora rematch and the Christian Hamer fight, keeping it long, frustrating Whyte. Fury will then tire Whyte out around the 7th or 8th round. Whyte will then start to gas and Fury will start landing heavier leather, with Fury stopping Whyte in the 9th or 10th round. I wouldn't be surprised if Whyte was even to quit on his stall, or his corner retires him. As if Fury gets that jab pumping, it may be a very long night for Whyte. We haven't seen Fury use a heavy jab for quite some time, more using it as a rangefinder or feinting with it against Wilder. But if Fury keeps it long with his old style jab, and he still has the legs to move and switch hit, this will be a very one-sided fight. I think there's levels to this game, and should both men be at their best, then Fury wins in a one-sided fight. If Fury's legs are shot, then it's a much more interesting fight, but after some touch-and-go moments, I think Fury will still win, but maybe not by knockout, maybe by a wide points decision. If Fury is on point, I can't see Whyte having the stamina to close out the championship rounds. But that being said, Whyte did carry power late into the Chisora rematch, so I will be on the edge of my seat for the whole fight. Whyte also was able to last through the late knockdowns against Parker and Rivares. The difference here is Whyte started them two fights by winning the early rounds and being ahead at the midway point. I don't think Whyte can do that against Fury. He will be playing catch up at the mid stage, and if he wants to win, he can't take any of the late rounds off to catch his breath. He will have to let his hands go and leave it all in the ring. I don't think Whyte can beat Fury on points. He has to bank on the body shots early and try and stop Fury late. He has to do what Wilder couldn't do. If he hurts Fury, he needs to stay on him. He needs to cut his legs away and keep Fury close in punching distance. He needs to make it an ugly fight and stop Fury getting in his rhythm and being the ring general. I don't think, judging by Whyte's recent training videos, that is Whyte's plan. He seems to be packing on muscle, doing a lot of weight training. This may be because he thinks Fury will be wrestling and leaning on him, so he wants the strength to push back against Fury. Or it could be that he wants to load up early and seek and destroy and plans to stop Fury in the first half of the fight, catching him cold in the early rounds. Either way, that is bad for Whyte, and his stamina problems if the fight goes late. Wrestling the bigger man and packing on extra muscle will tire him out sooner. This is kind of hard to say, as I am a big fan of Whyte and I've enjoyed him over the last 7 years, but I haven't seen anything that makes me think Whyte can win at elite level. That's a big statement with such a packed resume, and I may end up with egg on my face come the 23rd of April, but that's my final prediction. If Fury is fit and at his best, he will outlast Whyte, and if he gasses, Fury will stop Whyte in the 9th or 10th round. What do you think, brawlers? I may have come across a little harsh on Whyte in this video, and that wasn't my intentions at all. Is there an extra dimension to his game that I'm missing? Can he pull off the upset? Would you even call it an upset if he was to beat Fury? As it stands, 68% of you are with me backing Fury to win by knockout after 118 votes. Who do you think wins, brawlers? Let me know in the comments section. And as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.